Dust is falling from your Nights I'm caught in city shenanigans. Spent 1,000, did a show and made it back again. I'm real passionate about the craft I pursue. I can't lose when faced with a struggle. I only grew. My roots, they run deep, so far you can't reach. My sound was underground, but now it's blasting in the streets. It's crazy how a roll of the dice can change your life. I rose from the ashes, gripped the mic, and I took flight. I write to be the greatest, the dopest on your playlist. Here to say the game like young Neo in the Matrix. Yeah, you know they call me a prophet. Knowledge to any topic, I'm a guru with the logic. Bringing positive vibes, dividing lies from dreams. Trying to find balance while we steady walking this beam. It seems like these days smoking haze don't do it for me. Searching for a reason to keep moving on this journey. Word from the wise, seeing visions with the third eye. Rocking it with philanthrope, this is hip-hop revive. Lyricism is soulful, home cooked like it's soul food. Here to fill the hole in your heart with nothing but love for the music. For the music, nothing but love for the music.
I was born to lay it down. When you listen to the sound all around, I'm a king, don't need a crown.
Feel like the phoenix with burning wings after the struggle. Yeah, give me some more again and take the lock on my muzzle. Drop and recover. Break my bones, but won't take me away like a buzzard. The cloud is beautiful, but then it covers. Imagine no sky existed, it wouldn't feel like the shutters. It'll show in times like these, there's no shame to be brothers. Or sisters, I'm not talking race, it's a mindset. Sting with the words, don't hit the flesh with a bayonet. There's a fire growing everywhere my eyes rest. Why is the river flowing blacker than its licorice? It's a bummer, man, there's too many cages, more than Nicholas. I'm dealing with people in my path is talking gibberish. Not giving a damn, will put your name onto the winners list. It's like the world is alcoholic in the now, but the tremor's it. I'ma go and make the best of it. Trying to make an entrance where an exit is. I'll do the best I can and never be immaculate. I'll need a push just like an arrow did. And life can give it to me effortless so I can tackle it.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Now we are in week 4 of the Battlegrounds League. My name is Gormizer. Joining me again this week is going to be Heyday. We liked him so much last week that we decided to have him come back this week and keep going and, have fun with 3 more games with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again. It was a pleasure last week to see how the league is shaping out, and it's great to be back. Knowing the players now, I feel like I'm putting not necessarily some faces, but some bullets and some strategy to the names. And it's exciting to see how this will play out today, especially with before this game kicked off, we were looking at the top 25 now and how that is rounding out. And as we discussed last week, Smithy and L2P Lush still at the top of the leaderboards, but the rest of the leaderboards shaping up. And that third spot is definitely open for the taking if Fine doesn't find himself where he found himself last week. And even the second spot is potentially up for grabs if we see another performance like we saw from Dark Dreams, taking first place in one of the games last week with the 12 kill count, highest of the league games so far. And that bumped him all the way up to 11th spot after not ever appearing on the top 20 leaderboards up until that point.
And speaking of Dark Dreams, I actually just saw with the plane spawning where it spawned, a lot of people kind of opting, a few people actually, only 3 of them opting to go towards that military base. But he did go towards this island. And last game, I remember that the one that we saw him do the 12 kills game 2 last week, he was starting out on that bridge just near where he landed. And that might be a strategy he kind of goes back to, because a lot of players do like to go this area. Of course, I think that's going to depend on where that circle is going to spawn for him and where exactly he's going to be in position of that. But ultimately, it's going to be good for him. A few players still in their parachutes looking to land. I saw one trying to fly down to Novo, just get the best loot that he possibly can. And when it comes down to it, that's going to be the main goal. Is right now we're already at 78 left alive. 2 players getting taken down early on. I believe one of them was down there in the military base.
Yeah, it's interesting to see who pops those parachutes last. And up there in the north, Smithy in some pretty notorious company there. And they're looking to, like you said, get out beyond where the potential flight path may be, getting out there in those looting areas that are off the beaten path to try and stay safe until they can get that loot up. And they actually are well in the circle up there north, but the rest of those down south are going to potentially have some trouble to get there in that safe zone.
Texas is going to be putting down Funk Daddy, who's another player we got to see a lot of last week, but not going to be able to make it very far so far. And it's going to cause some issues for him, especially trying to get up there. I mean, we were, like you mentioned, second place, still kind of up for grabs, especially if you can have performances with, 12 kills. 8 kills is probably going to be able to do it for you if you can place top consistently with that. But for the most part, third place is still open. There's a lot of these players who they were performing well for the first couple weeks, but slowly just have not been showing up the way that they did in those first few games. And the one I always look at, I mean, right now, number 4, Katie Cakes. We talk about her almost every single week now because she has the right mindset and the right play style, but she doesn't get the kills. She tends to end up in these scenarios where she is the one who gets kind of picked out and picked on. And when it comes down to it, that's going to be the thing that's going to separate you from maybe 4th place and 3rd place.
Yeah, fortunately for her, the rest of the pack in that top 10 hasn't moved very much. We've seen Fairy Tale of Sin come up. We've seen Fine move his way up, as well as Raptor to Raptor actually dropping down a bit. So those spots fluctuating a little bit, as you mentioned, the last week or so, those players not performing the same as they did in week 1. And, I'm learning stuff every week as well. As a matter of fact, I was watching a stream this week and I hear them chatting about this box that's on the bridge. And they're like, oh, yeah, can you get in there? Yeah, I think you can get in there. I was like, as a matter of fact, you can get in there. I watched this guy, Dark Dreams, do it. And he went on to post a high kill count. So learning something new every week by watching these games and seeing how these players adapt. And I think consistency is the key to success here. So if you look back across week 1, 2, and 3, you'll see that Smithy 97, who's our top player at the moment in that number 1 spot, has consistently placed in the top 20 every single game except one, taking a couple wins as well. So that's helped him keep that top spot. We did see some great exchange between Lush and Smithy in the first game that Nyan ended up taking, with Smithy with that epic grenade kill, looking back on that match. And Lush ended up ahead of him, but with less kills. So it's all shaping up to be a very exciting finish here to the league.
A lot of players right now pretty much sitting in buildings with each other. A couple of them we got to see. Andrew Pones came out of that one, I believe, against Schematics. And Fatty McNugget is going to be hanging out over there with them. But if we can see across the map, a few buildings are going to be occupied by more than one player. And a lot of them are going to end up paying for it. Right now, I see Reginald just picked up Jay Snipes out of that building. And Jay Snipes was another one of those players. He's number 24 right now, but that's still somewhere to go. As Sixth Rune, one shot, picks up the kill. Yoshi's Story going to get knocked out there. And Sixth Rune, another player we've seen kind of make it up to those high grounds, and tends to favor this kind of central area of the map near the school, near Rozhok, looking to be just slightly outside of both of those, but he's going to be centralized. He's in the circle, and he's setting himself up to get some kills.
Yeah, you can see Dark Dreams pushing up from the south. Everybody's starting to make their move. 1:30 left on the clock there before the blue comes in. So plenty of time still for these players on the west side of the map, on the outskirts there, to get their loot on and to make it back into the safe zone. Georgia Pole there being looted in those apartments, a very nice place to get some loot on, especially if you can find a boat or a vehicle to take that sort of freeway back into Rozhok there. And I always like looting in that area. A lot of people tend to go to the boxes, the crates, that shipyard there. I do prefer the apartment buildings over that.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I feel like a lot of people like to favor those crates, partially because of the cover and the amount that you can fight in it. But for a lot of it, I think people just see streamers go there and they're like, man, that's a cool place. I want to go there. Not a lot of people try to go to those apartments. I feel like you get a little bit better loot overall. And that kind of goes for, quite a few apartments across the map. There are some that are must hits, but even towns like Zarki are ones where you can get really good loot, but you have to be there in order to get it. And of course, with this circle spawning, there is not a single player who wants to risk it, as I hear Nims throwing out some shots, trying to risk a little bit, but ultimately not going to be able to find anything. Schematic and Texas are going to be the two I'm looking at just outside of Pochinki and in Pochinki. Both of them, as I've been watching, have 2 kills to their name, and I'm kind of just waiting patiently for them collide. Eventually, Schematic is going to be making his way over towards Pochinki, and he might meet his doom there, although he's getting looted up before he goes over there. So it should be an interesting battle and an interesting skirmish that comes out.
Yeah, it looks like he unfortunately just has a shotgun running along there. Hopefully for his sake, that's just something I missed. But yeah, in comparison to the crates versus the apartments, I love the apartments because I think they're a lot easier to clear. Of course, there could always be someone trying to camp in there. But the rooms, there's only normally one entrance to the rooms, except maybe on the ground floor. So they're particularly easy to clear, I think, as you can see the player here very cautiously making his way through. But those crates, there's bullets flying from a lot of different directions at you potentially, especially if someone's finding a scope early on and even shooting from across the water there. It looks like 2 players right on top of each other here in the apartments by the school. Let's see how this goes down. There's counter injection and someone else down there.
I will say I've been just told by one of the admins, Lord WizKid, to go ahead and say that we're going to have to take a short break due to some technical difficulties. The match is going to need to be restarted. Might have to be with some of the server issues. Some of the players might not be able to connect, and trying to keep this as fair as possible. It's going to give some people maybe a second chance, but I've been told to go ahead, throw this one to a quick break. We'll take a small BRB and then be right back with Game 1 action as we go forward with it.
Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are still going to be in week 4, but we're restarting game 1. There were some lag issues with the server. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for coming back, depending on if you were kind of clicking away as you were watching it. But as we stand, we are back in the game. We are getting a fresh spawn for all of these players, and we are going to be going on in pretty much a almost exact same plane, so it's not too big of a difference for them. Again, my name is Gormizer, and joining me one more time is going to be Heyday.
Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to the stream.
As you can see, the plane being pretty much going, southwest up to northeast, going over. A lot of players not actually going to be opting to go to Primorsk. Quite a few going to be going around Gatka and the surrounding areas. That one fishing village, I don't know exactly what it is called. It doesn't have a name, but I've just always referred to it as fishing village, right there between the bridge and Primorsk, is a hotspot. A lot of players like this area. The first time I went there, it was completely devoid of it, but as time has gone on, a lot of people go there. And as you can see, a lot of players are angling their parachutes over there right now. But the other hot spots, we're going to see Pochinki, a few people looking like they're trying to go to Georgia Pole, Rozhok, the school. You're just standard hot spots going to be where everyone's looking for.
Yeah, this is a great spread utilizing the heart of the map, as you mentioned. I believe they call that Pier Town down there, if I'm not mistaken. Pochinki, Rozhok, Yasnaya, all very hot spots here. As you can see, we're going to have some altercations here at the school immediately. And I always love this. I think the school is like one of the sketchiest places you can land. But you see so many people in streams going there and just duking it out. And I think, you know, a lot of people take that idea of whoever can own the school is probably a pretty good player. And so I think, as you mentioned before, you know, a lot of people seeing people going into the crates on streams. I think you see the same thing with the school a lot as well. If I'm landing in this area, again, I'm going for the apartments over the school. But again, that always has to do with your individual experiences there as well. A lot of players have good experiences there in those open corridors, and some people prefer the tight quarters of those apartment buildings. A different circle here, though, from the last game. A bit of the same flight on the plane, but we're going to see a southeast circle, which is going to contain Milta and Pochinki, and the Milta West there, which is leading to the bridge down to the military base. And you can see players already in vehicles starting to make their way to Milta and some of the hot spots there. We're going to try to get that best loot. And some people look like they're still floating down in those parachutes down there in the military base. I see at least one. And Fast Killer up there in the northwest going for this Georgia Pole apartment complex area there, still coming down in the parachute.
And there's always been two options with the game, depending on how fast you want to go. One of them is land, try to find a car, hope you get a spawn. And another one is just to do the standard pop your chute really early and then try to fly your way over there. And as you can say, a few players are going to be trying to opt in for that. Snyder is going to be the player I want to point out in the school, going to be the one who pulled out that first blood. And now we're actually kind of watching over as Twitch TV Godson is going to be running around. There are still a few players over here. Snyder sitting about half health. At this point, they've been able to pick up better guns. They know that they're there. They recognize there are other players in the school, but they're all being extraordinarily cautious as to where they are going. A few players, unfortunately, going up to that northeast corner are going to have to find their way. I actually believe I saw a player coming or going towards Zarki, so he's going to have a little bit of a trip for him as he comes back, but a lot of these players are still, in the same scenario we saw last game. 68 alive left. That's going to be 11 already gone, and we still have people who are in these same buildings looting as each other.
Yes, absolutely. I do like the clump of players over by the school and the apartment buildings there. I think that can lead to a good, potentially some good fights there in that area. I'd like that northwest gamble, because you could potentially pick up a boat all the way out there at the end of the map and make your way up the river and get back into the circle just fine. Yeah. That one's a nice one there. It's definitely easier to find a boat on that river than it is to find a vehicle somewhere out in the wastelands of the west there. And it looks like the players, though, on that west side pretty well spread out. We've seen that name Machine Gunner pop up a bunch during the tournament. And again, he's opting to be outside of the circle. We'll see at what point he makes his way back into the circle. A lot of these players on the fringe there trying to get that loot and make their way back in.
Enap doing something I feel like we've seen him do a few times. He has a house to himself. He knows there's a player nearby, and he takes this position. He has perfect vision on the staircase. He can see the minute you come up there. But the one thing that tends to play against him would be grenades. Unfortunately, it does not look like Dr. Kiri has that. Enap jumps out. He's going to get caught out. Going to see him and get a couple shots off. At this point, both of them know where they are, but with one shot already taken at him, Dr. Kiri going to be at a severe disadvantage, forced to heal up. Any pushing and any pressure from Enap should win him this engagement.
And we've seen Enap do very well in the past couple games, like you said, taking that sort of Viper in the shadows technique, waiting in ambush. He decides to push there. It pays off. A lot of times in this game, you can sort of smell blood or taste blood when you have a first encounter with a player. And you see Enap came out there, which with, I think, the disadvantage with they're both holding the rifles in their right hand. Enap has the building on his right-hand side, but he gets that shot off and weakens the other player, smells blood, and pushes right on him to get the kill.
And this is one of those things, normally this game does kind of favor the person who's going to be a little bit more patient and is kind of the one being aggressed on. But there are going to be key scenarios, exactly what we just saw, where aggressing is going to be the play you have to make. And being able to make that call, I feel, is the hallmark of a player that knows what they're doing. And right now it looks like Fairy Tale of Sin doing his best to get some shotgun kills through a window and through the fence. And Hook Bay waiting patiently to try and get some shots off. It doesn't look like Fairy Tale of Sin has a rifle to his name. I've seen him cycle through a grenade, a shotgun, and a pistol. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough range here. If he can do this right, and he actually finds it right there, the shot with the shotgun long range takes him out. Hook Bay, unfortunately for you, have been eliminated.
Yeah, I like the patience there. As you can see, Hook Bay cycling through his weapons definitely has the advantage as far as weapons and attachment goes, with a couple different scopes on there, a red dot and an actual scope, and does have that firefight advantage. But the advantage there was, I love this roof play. The advantage there, though, was being in the building, being patient, and taking those shotgun shots. This is great. I love seeing
how did he even get up there?
I'm thinking there's a balcony on one side, and if you open the door and you leave the door open, you can hop up on top of the door. But the door's closed, so maybe he came from a different building and then hopped over. But I saw that in a stream, and I thought that was really clever. You can actually get up on top of there, because I've seen players drop down and they land on the rooftop, sort of just to troll people in the game, by using proximity voice to call to them and say, hey, I know you're there, but they have no weapons. They can't do anything. But if you can get up there after the fact when you have some weapons, it's really hard because the player here, Texas, he doesn't expect that, right? He could potentially be hearing footsteps running all over that building and thinking that player is either in the same floor as him in a different room or maybe downstairs or so, and doesn't really know where he is, tries to maybe push out and see where he is, and then he gets jumped by the spray of the Uzi.
Yeah, it's going to be the deadliest Batman play you'll get to see, and it's honestly only in this game that I feel like you could see something like this, and I really like it. Again, learning new things pretty much every single week that I've casted this, and this is going to be a great one to learn and potentially use, especially because in Pochinki specifically, it's a dangerous neighborhood. You don't want to live there. You don't want to buy a house there. There's gunshots almost constantly, but getting on the roof gets you out of the line of sight. A lot of people don't look up there. That is going to be a relatively heads-up play. But again, like you had mentioned, you can hear the footsteps. So it's going to either drive someone insane, or it's going to give away the fact that it's like, okay, well, you're nearby. They're just going to wait patiently until they get a sight on you. So it might not work out fully, but you still have that advantage. It's going to be very interesting to see how that one goes out, as it looks like Neko Chaff here, not in the best position that you could be in, a hay bale, and that is it around an empty field, and someone is just going to be patiently watching him. KM2K here going to take some shots, not finding the ones he needs, and with the scope that he has on, it's not going to be the easiest shot for him to find.
Yeah, I hate that hayfield. I every time I'm playing with a group or playing solo, and you start to run into that circle, and then all of a sudden you come over a little hill, or you come through some trees, and there that big open field is in front of you. It's never a good feeling to run through there. There's always somebody waiting in the grass or in a building like that there. So if you could survive through the hayfield, I feel like you can survive anywhere. In fact, we saw a great hayfield showdown finale in, I think it was game 3 of last week, as Neokaf finally goes down. It doesn't look like it was to the player from the building. It's actually Compo Trash here that was shooting at him from a different direction, stealing that kill. And the circle's coming in. It's moving in on these players. It's going to force all those players in the northwest and the west to move in. As you can see, some of them are still riding that wave. Even Machine Gunner, as we mentioned before, he's over in those crates there. He's riding that wave in as we have a firefight here. Kavorka working on a vehicle there, drops the bike to get some shots off and gets about half health off a UXV.
And speaking of this doesn't apply as much just because this is solo play, but in duos, for anyone who's watching and might be curious, you can use one-handed weapons on the back of the bike. So one thing that Kavorka could potentially try to do if he wants to get really, really styling on people, switch to the back seat, use that to try and get some shots off. Of course, that's going to leave the bike driving itself, and that is probably the deadliest sentence I've ever uttered about Battlegrounds, is leaving the bike to its own accord. But as you can see, a few players actually still down on the military base, looting up as much as they can. Canadian going to be taking some shots off. Car v car, looking to find it. Not necessarily looking in the right place, but he does have a dune buggy nearby, so he's not too worried about taking this again. But a lot of these players, there's a point where you don't need to fight anymore. You just want to get inside the circle, because if you wait too long, you're going to take a little bit too much damage. And depending on the meds you have on you and the ability you have to heal, that might change the way you're going to play this game.
We have the first circle here down to 51 alive. And you mentioned the motorcycle. The motorcycle is dangerous enough when you're driving it with your hands on the handlebars. But yeah, if you're riding in the back there. But I love seeing those plays. You see that in boats a lot of the times, because if you're driving that boat solo, you're not able to shoot from there if you have that rifle. So you see some showdowns going on out in the water where players are, control 1, control 4, control 1, control 4, back and forth, trying to get shots off and drive the boat at the same time. It looks like Jabberjaw's here in a good spot in this tower, and the circle hitting right there on the edge is going to be safe. And this is what I love to see. 2 players right on top of each other. You most likely only see this in solos, just because of the proximity and the amount of players. Once you start getting into squads, duos even, if you have this many players in this close proximity, eventually someone sees someone. But right now, these 2 players on top of each other. It looks like Jabberjaws might push up, or he's running around back inside.
Runs around. He closed the door, and I think he might be trying to mislead Deserted up there. He might be trying to make Deserted think that he just went back in and kind of camped down, and now he's going to be able to run away. Go up to that church. There's actually quite a few good hiding spots up there, but he might get spotted out going up there. Enap is actually right in the neighborhood, and it looks like Sir is going to be driving right towards them as well, which is going to be causing a huge calamity in the fight over there. Smithy down in the bottom, I see, getting another kill, so he has remained alive in these top 50. As it looks like he might potentially be looking for another one. Dies over there, not looking the right direction. He might get taken out just because he's not keeping track of every single side.
Yeah, down to 49, 2:07 left on the clock before the next circle pushes. Smithy looks to be pretty geared here. See that level 3 backpack, level 3 helmet. Looks like a level 2 vest, if I'm not mistaken, or level 3. And he's got that car as well, looking to take some shots here, get some good kills, and hold that number 1 spot. You can see players still well outside the circle making their way back in. And it's awesome to see that view, that overhead view, as you see Fine here taking some shots. Fine is up there in the number 3 spot. So as we mentioned before, that's a very crucial spot right now. That spot could be easily lost if Fine doesn't hold his own today. There's a lot of players that could earn enough points to take that number 3 spot. He also has a chance to push himself up into that 2nd spot potentially, or at least solidify that 3rd spot with today's games.
And now we're looking at Lush. Has a nice car on his back and looks like an M4 in his hands as well to be able to go for it. And he knows where J Snipes is, it would seem, but he's not going to be able to take any shots. Or he might just be keeping track of the woods, knowing that a lot of players like to run through here, especially when you have a circle of this size. As the new one has, or we have about 40 seconds until we get the next set. And really, a lot of these players are going to be forced out. A lot of them still just kind of on the outskirts. A lot did go towards that mill to kind of centralized area. So a few of them got lucky with where they chose to go for that first position. But as it stands right now, we're seeing something that I've almost grown accustomed to seeing, which is right next to each other in two separate buildings. Whether or not they know each other are there is completely unbeknownst to us, but we do know that they're going to have to fight eventually. Whether they're in the circle right now or not, they are going to get caught out. Someone's going to make that movement first, and it seems like Temp Warrior might know someone's in the other building, but just not comfortable enough to make any aggressive play.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people would say that the second circle is maybe the most boring of all of them, just because people seem to get comfortable with what they've looted so far and sit in those buildings around and sort of camp for a bit to see what the next circle is going to look like, just because that circle is so big and you have so much time. But I think it's actually potentially one of the most strategic because you are still trying to potentially improve the loot that you have already. If you do have a good loot, and at that point, then you're trying to decide what's the best time to move. At what point of this of the circle are you in? What's the best positioning? Do you move now or do you ride that wave in? There's a lot of thought that goes in to this second circle. Whereas at the end game, you're sort of just running and pushing in those smaller circles just to stay alive and just to not be taken out by the circle. At this point, you could potentially also get kind of greedy and keep looting, keep moving along, and maybe go to another spot which isn't so safe, rather than staying in that safety of a building or whatever you've found.
Tactician here is going to be the one we're hovering over, currently looking to try and get in that circle, but Gatekeeper Compo Trash is going to be pretty much doing the opposite, trying to make sure that Tactician doesn't get into that circle. And what we actually got to saw just a couple minutes ago, Machine Gunner took out our friend A Canadian, who was hanging out over there, but now announced to other players pretty much the way that this game goes, where 2-3 players are going to be sitting in an area, they're going to wait, and the minute one knows where the other is, the shots are going to be coming out. And as we see it, Compo Trash going to be healing up as well. Tactician healed up, waiting patiently. Shot's going to come down. Tactician is the one who's taking a lot. Now his helmet is gone. Compo Trash is aiming very carefully, and that 4x on his gun is going to make it very convenient for him. Just an M4, but it's going to be enough, and it's accurate enough that he's going to get this. The circle now going to be helping him out a little bit, but he's going to get caught in this damage for a little bit too. He still has that health, still has the ammo, and he still has the aim. Tactician is in probably one of the worst spots you could be in when you are trying to win this game.
Yeah, he needs to push forward. Doesn't have a lot of cover beyond the house and the tree out there. And that's another thing about the second circle as well. Do you give your position up by trying to get kills, or do you play it safe? And it's really hard because, as you mentioned, you'll be fighting and oh, what a nice shot to take him down. Compo Trash with the kill. He's actually going to run back into the blue, deep into it, to go loot that body. We'll see if that risk pays off.
Now, as we're seeing that circle getting tighter, going up there, kind of hovering around the Povka and the crater, forcing a lot of players in. Still a lot of vehicles being used to get into this area. And this is always one of those plays, personal tastes for each player as to whether or not they're going to continue using it. Dies now has sights on Smithy, has seen him cross this window a few times, recognizes it again, and looks like he has an M24 sniper on his back as well. If he really wants to make it through this one, he's going to have a pretty good set going for him. A level 3 helmet, it looks like a level 3 vest. Could be able to take out Smithy, but this running is going to be worse for him. He's going to take a few shots, have to drop down to the ground right behind that wall. Very lucky for cover. And Smithy looking for another kill. He smells blood, and he is just waiting for it to come to him. Yeah,
definitely going for it. I wanted to ask you, have you ever seen a in the crater? I call it personally the pit of death, because I've maybe gotten out of there alive one time by climbing into one of the lookout towers and just waiting till everyone left. Otherwise, it's been a bloodbath. So I would love to see a final circle there just for the sheer entertainment of those at home.
The car snipe's coming out. Dies doing his best to run. Going to take a few more shots from Smithy, looking for one more kill to add to his total. Might be able to find it, but again, the ridge cover just perfectly placed for Dies to be able to drop down and heal up. And this game, again, favors the one who's defending. Dies at this point could potentially wait for it, but Smithy is playing a lot smarter than that. He's going to be able to get even more hits. He is running through Dai's meds as much as he can. And at this point, I'm honestly kind of wondering why it hasn't become a sniper battle, why he keeps moving cover to cover. It seems like he wants to get close, maybe full auto Smithy down, and it seems like Smithy might be recognizing that play and making the run around to try and move positions. Dies hasn't seen him move yet, and as far as I know, that third-person camera couldn't capture the way he jumped off it. Smithy could catch him out right here. One hit.
Yep, great positioning gets him down to just a few hit points. You know, a lot of times in this game, you find yourself with really good weapon, but you're maybe not as comfortable with it as you are with an assault rifle. And so while you have it, you really try to pick those moments where you want to use it. And he didn't feel like it there. And Smithy eventually gets the kill on Dies.
The big thing for Dies there, and this is one of those things that it's like, well, you died, but at least, and that but at least here is the fact that Smithy can't get that gun unless he goes outside of the circle. That's going to be the one that goes through his Funk Daddy. Looking to get aggressed on Fine, holding that grenade quite a while. It lands, does not find the kill just yet, but the grenade battle does go through. Funk Daddy recognizes where he is preparing himself for a fight, but it doesn't seem like he wants to do it. He's just going to kind of sit back, heal up as best he can. Really, with the kind of position of Fine, he's looking around. And again, this is where the ridge and the geography of the map really plays into the player.
Yeah, absolutely. You might think Funk Daddy has the edge being in that hut there. He definitely has good cover, but it's hard to see out of there, hard to shoot out of there, especially with a player behind the ridge, as you mentioned. Yeah. So Fine really does have the upper hand right here, as you know, interesting as that is to say. I do love these grenade battles. So I want to see more of these. We saw Smithy land an amazing grenade last week, and it really got me fired up for more grenade action between these players.
Yeah, my biggest highlights so far every week has been watching these players who have become proficient with grenades and getting them exactly where they need to. And of course, it does have a pretty nice targeter. And ever since they made it so grenades can break through windows, that has been the best change for this game for me, just because I cannot count how many times I downed myself trying to break through a window with it and then remembering it would just reflect it. But as it stands, that's the way a lot of these players tend to play. A few of them still making their way into the circle. I see Smithy up there. I see Machine Gunner still alive. Quite a few others. I mean, Total T-Mac was the one that stood out to me at the very end glimpse of that. And it looks like the few players that were already in the circle, or at least on the edge of the current circle, are going to be waiting to see it. Right now, Mad Pain, I think, recognizes there's a player nearby him, although doesn't quite know where he is. I think he heard the footsteps and is kind of cautious, but doesn't exactly know the positioning. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and run away. But there are a lot of people looking around here and a lot of chances for him to get caught out. And it looks like our stack's going to be the first one to take the shot.
Yeah, not knowing where the player is, so he really runs right in front of him. It's actually going to be taken out by a different player. It looks like Nems with the kill there. So running out into the field and taking down, that's the risk that you take when you run out like that. And that's what makes this game so exhilarating. You never know where you're going to get shot from potentially. And we might see a crater final circle here with the way it's shaping up. And that could be very interesting because that's a nasty place to fight.
This was probably the perfect spot for Nims to get the kill because he's able to loot. The first thing I was thinking is he's going to run up and loot and he's going to get killed. Fine, actually being the one who just got killed there. Funk Daddy finally able to kind of come out on top of that, but Nims is right behind a rock. Nims killed that and got the loot crate to sit right where he needed to in order to not be able to get shot. Now our stack, because he has about 10 seconds, needs to get on the move, has to get away here, and he has to run away. And that's going to expose his back over to pretty much everyone else in this area. Right now, I think Nims has started moving, but we do see M2K over here going to be able to pick up another kill right there. Easy peasy, but looting inside the circle, has a buggy, might be able to make it out, but ultimately it's going to cause him a lot of meds because you can see right there the chunks of health that circle is doing is not going to be comfortable to stay in.
Yeah, circle 4 at the moment. This is 1.5 damage per second as it ticks. And we do see some of these top 10 players still in the game now. Smithy, Lush, Fine, you mentioned, was just taken out, but Katie Cakes is still in the game. And this is huge because Fine just went down. Katie Cake's still in the game. Just looks like 12 points behind Fine. So depending on where she ends up, could really shake things up in that top 3.
Right now, I'm looking at the positioning. So on Crater right now, there are a couple players in buildings hanging around in there. I think one actually hiding. Lush taking a couple shots, taking some fire, I believe. But I like Lush's positioning just a little bit more because these rocks provide so much cover and still allow you to see as much as you can. He's covered from virtually all sides and should be able to pick some shots off depending on who he's waiting on. Maybe if he peeks over into Crater in a little bit, because we just saw the next circle spawned, and they're going to be forced out of there. Machine Gunner still riding that wave on the very southwest end of the circle. Has a long way to ride, but as you can see, we're now in the top 20, 18 people left. 6th rune just picked up Condor and is looking to make his way in there. We see L2P Lush going to be returning in there. Him and Smithy at this point kind of having a rivalry for that first place, and both still being alive is going to cause a little bit of trouble for each other because only one person can take number 1 for the game. And it really could be any of the 17 left, although I'm going to say that Jacob here out in the circle taking a lot of damage. It's going to be rough for him. He's going to have to heal up, use some of those meds, and those are worth so much at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Katie Cakes, it looks like she went. So this is really up for grabs right now for these other players to grab some points and push their way up. And the place where Lush was over that crater is why I hate that area so much, because you think you're safe down there with some cover, and
You're
someone from right up above, it's just lights out and good night. So we do have a player KM2K down in the circle there. The rest of the players running in, and as we mentioned, now in circle 5, this is 3 damage per second, big chunks of damage as you're running through.
You actually get a very good example of how much damage that is doing. We just saw a med kit used by Jacob first off, and now he's already sitting at the point where he has to use another set of painkillers to get back to feeling comfortable. He actually spots another player, taking some shots, going to be able to hit some, hasn't found the kill, and that's actually going to be really bad for him as he finds it. There was a sniper on the other end of that, and if he had not found that last shot, that was going to get a big turnaround. But J-Riff has now recognized someone's nearby and smells the silencer, knows what he can use, but the circle moving up is going to cause some issues. Jacob's going to take taken down, and you can't really loot that circle. You've got to run. J-Riff looking like he's going to end up taking a little bit of damage, and the same thing goes for Moliak, possibly Machine Gunner, as they are not yet in the new circle, and it is moving fast.
Yeah, Machine Gunner riding the wave as he tends to do. And that was a really cool overview on the mini map that we saw there. Is J-Riff was actually creeping up behind those 2 players fighting. So you definitely have to watch your back while you're engaging in the front. You see Fairy Tale of Sin, a few other players all right around at the edge of that circle. They will potentially pick off these players like Machine Gunner there. You see his health chunking down. It looks like he's probably going to pop some health, or he's just saying goodbye and good night. He does, in fact, pop some health. He's going to run in here. But at this point, you're running into players that are already staying healthy, and there down he goes. Fairy Tale of Sin waiting right there for any player to run in. J-Riff down, Moliak down, and we're down to 9 alive, and a very smaller circle here on that little area there, which they don't have a name for. Northeast of the crater.
Just a few houses going to be 3 occupied, I think, out of the 4 that are over there. And Lush was able to pick up a couple players as they were running in as well. It's going to be Russ West, Total Team Mac, and Lush. If they do not get forced out of these houses, they will sit there until the final circle. They have all the cover they need, and the only thing that will give them away is their own shots. Royal Titan doing another play that we've kind of gotten used to seeing. This is something that a lot of people don't take into account, but it is still hard to see a player that is crawling. You're going to be slow. You can't really react that well, but it's going to be enough as Andrew Pones just going to get taken down in the headshot. Scar L from Private O'Neill, who is looking to try and make his way to the circle as well. 7 left alive in the circle right now, and a lot of them, at least 3 of them, I think 4 total, are not yet safe and still have to move. J Snipes, Fairy Tale of Sin, Private O'Neill, all of them in close proximity to each other, and it looks like J Snipes or Private O'Neill are going to get a peek of another player here in just a second, and that's going to be enough to just take one down. O'Neill taking shots, and that's not going to be his death. He actually gets to drop down under the cover of the map, and J Snipes wants blood, and he's going to get aggressive.
Yeah, he's going for J Snipes currently in the 24th spot, so this could definitely bump him way up with a win and some kills here. And he goes down, though, as well, riding that wave in. Took some shots from Private O'Neill there, and they're both dead. We're down to 5 and a very small circle now, which is going to push those players in those houses outside of those houses into this open area with just some trees as cover.
So there is a part of Lush's house that is inside the circle as he takes a sniper shot, not able to find it. He has a gun that does have full auto. He could potentially stay in this house if he really wants to, but it's going to be a dangerous play. I personally think it's going to be even more dangerous if he doesn't think about the fact that the other houses behind him would be occupied, because any of those players can run into that house. It looks like Fairy Tale is going to be taking shots from 2 players, and Lush is going to be the one who finds the kill. But again, without a silencer on that sniper, players now know that he is in there. And of course, he heard the shots that were being thrown out by Royal Titan there, and he knows that there's going to be a lot. Total T-Mac, I believe, actually was shooting. Either way, they've given away their positions here. Russ West and Total T-Mac have to move out of their houses. They are not in the circle. L2P Lush, I personally recommend it, but it's really up to him. He does have a balcony he could jump off, and it looks like T-Mac pulled out a grenade. Might be going for the route of bombing some people here, but it's just a curious play. He's going to throw it, hit the roof of where Lush is. He recognizes where the player is, and it looks like he might want to get aggressive.
Yeah, I like that play. And as you mentioned, I did see that balcony as well. So luck is on his side. I mean, the RNG goes beyond just the loot, right? It goes into where that circle hits, where you end up in those houses, and how you can go in and out of those houses, in and out of that cover as the circle pushes. And here it goes. This is ticking for 7.5 damage per second. So this is going to hit hard, and we may see some players go down just to the circle here. We got a firefight. Total T-Mac is getting a bead on the player out there in the field, but he's pinched in on the side of that wall. He's not hitting his shots. He's low on health. There finally one lands, and there's
Royal Titan falls down, but Lush has the sight on the T-Mac. The circle helping a little bit, and Lush just being able, I mean, at that point, you just clean up. He didn't have to worry about anything. No one was looking at him. And while it seemed like Total T-Mac knew where his position was, he just didn't quite have the shots to like go for him. He wasn't able to find it. And as you can see, Lush, 5 kills this time, a little bit more tame than his usual bout, but it's still going to be a pretty hefty chunk considering the next 3. I mean, Fairy Tale Ascend was batting a nice 6, but other than that, we see 3 kills, 1 kill, 3 kills. And a lot of these players, again, where they were kind of playing the patient game, waiting in those circles. But as you can see, Lush going to be the one who kind of comes out on top. And that's going to be, I believe, his 3rd win of the league so far. Trying to make his way back up there. He was number 2. He's still number 2. And that's going to help out his points a lot.
Yeah, that's a massive win for him. And like I said before, it's all about consistency, about stepping up when you're facing adversity. And sometimes these players in those top spots are maybe facing more adversity than the players in the low spots, because they might not have a chance to move up, while he's really on the verge of, maybe losing his spot to someone that goes just absolutely ham in these games here. So taking the first victory now is huge for him. And we didn't see Smithy in that top 10. So there may be a switch up in the top 10 that's massive by the end of tonight, that we see Machine Gunner and Jay Snipes there down in the 22 and 24 spot, both in the top 10. So that's going to help them climb up as well. And we'll see how the rest of the field shapes up after that. As we mentioned before, the 3rd through maybe 7th or so place, even 8th, 9th, we have 350-point players all tied up there, a 49. So as you get down into the stack, down into the 6th through like 10th place, the players are very close there, and it's really anybody's game. And the prizes awarded for this first 5 weeks of the league go to the top 3. So it's up for grabs if they want to take home that out of game loot as well.
Yeah, but with that, we're going to go and cut to a short break. Thank you, everyone who has been watching. As always, you share the stream, give the stream a follow as well if you haven't already. We do this every week. This is week 4 of 5, so next week will be the last week for season 1, but we will be coming back for a 2nd season, as you can imagine, revamping a few things, maybe changing some things up, and listening to the feedback that the players give us as we go. But as it stands for right now, we'll take a short break. That was only game 1 of today. We have 2 more waiting for you, so we'll cut to a short break and bring that one here soon.
See you soon.
me to introduce myself. Who knows what dastardly crime he might perpetrate next?
He's a very clever arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of the suicidal maniac.
Yo, this shit is just crazy, man. No, I'm trying to. Yeah, we can do that. Yo, you got that salad, my brother? All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. One again. All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. Yeah. Built from the bottom with a solid foundation. Mixing liquid with beats and that's a real combination. Eyes awaken, lost in lyrics concentrating. Give my life to this music, that's the chance I'm taking. Never had shit, I had to fit in on my own. Visions of getting crowned and approaching the throne. Etched in stone so this name will live forever. The cheddar ain't important, it's the people I treasure. Lovers never fall, we just gotta look to find it. The things we want most are so close that we're blinded. Yeah, see, take them words to heart. Wish I had similar thoughts when my journey started. Always lacked the knowledge since my mind was starving. Now I'm eating well, kicking rhymes like Spartans. Yeah, give my all when performing. Put your hands up if it's your hop you're supporting. All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. One time. All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. Built from the bottom with a solid foundation. Now we up at the top and I love the elevation. Blunts we blazing, embrace the sensation. Passing the weed like Neji with the rotation. Tired of waiting, I think that our time is now. Finally approach the throne, earn the right to wear the crown. I smile cause these days it's hard to find a reason to. People worry about their jobs, spouse and revenue. We'll make it through, never stress about that cause we bounce back. Yo, we coming stronger than ever. Feel the pressure, no matter what, we only get better. People want change, you know we gain range together, yeah. I give my all when performing. Put your hands up if it's your hop you're supporting. All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. One time. All I do is kick incredibly dope shit. Posted in the basement while sipping a potion. Suppressed all emotions so my mind stay focused. Third eye perceptions make them chakras open. Mic check, 1, 2. Yeah. Yeah. It all started with a step and then evolved into a movement. This music had molded me into a person in tune with the rhythms that surrounded me. The haters started doubting me, but no one could attempt to be the person I was bound to be. Now I'm growing with no intention to stop, dropping knowledge like a nervous librarian, while kicking veteran flows that's better than most, selling out shows. Never forget my past cause it wasn't so long ago. I was broke, choking on herb, writing words in my palm, keeping calm cause a level head will always keep you strong. This long road chasing the gold but getting silver. I went back to the grind since mama ain't raised a quitter. I'll be damned if I give in after all that I put in. Gassed up on inspiration and sparked the ignition. Peeled off, navigated my way through the dark, and never falling a victim to people disguised as sharks, Follow my heart even if it led me to ruin. Allowed to make mistakes cause damn, I'm only human, right? Chasing the light like it's calling to me. No matter how much you try, there's nobody else that can do me. Follow my heart even if it led me to ruin. Allowed to make mistakes cause damn, I'm only human, right? Chasing the light like it's calling to me. No matter how much you try, there's nobody else that can do me. Life under pressure has me learning every single day, changing my ways to escape this phase, riding the waves, hope it takes me to a different place than where I'm at. Finally made it out, but then them problems try to pull me back until that mindset that never lets go. They hate to see you rise, so they keep you below. Instead I float on the hands of my fans during the show, stacking dough so my family will never have to be poor. Putting in work, I always strive to be perfect. Knee deep in the game without even scratching the surface. Searching for purpose in this puzzling game. The struggle is universal, we all go through the pain. Different lanes that be leading to the same destination. Wanna free my mind and reach a state of elevation. Tired of waiting, see it's now or never. Kenji and Philanthrop reppin' chill hop forever. Follow my heart even if it led me to ruin. Allowed to make mistakes cause damn, I'm only human. Chasing the light like it's calling to me. No matter how much you try, there's nobody else that can do me. Follow my heart even if it led me to ruin. Allowed to make mistakes cause damn, I'm only human. Chasing the light like it's calling to me. No matter how much you try, there's nobody else that can do me.
Welcome back to game number 2. As you can see, we're here in the scenic route with a sunset map. Our cameraman has found a very lovely position to put it there just to get the feel of this map. It's always been beautiful. But again, my name is Gormizer, and joining me on the desk is going to be Heyday. And we just got to see one interesting game, and I believe we're about to see another one. 69 players in right now, I think 70 total. And they're going to be fighting it out just again for those top few spots.
Hello, hello. How many players do you think just get lost in that sunset and forget that there's a death match going on?
There are quite a few spots on this map that you will glance over there and you'll just forget for a little bit. Like, you'll hear gunshots in the background, but they just fade away as you focus in on the sunset. And it does look really good here, and I really am a big fan of this. My favorite map is the rainy map, but we're going to try and keep that one, I think, under wraps for a little while. I'm not sure when that one's going to come out, but as we see, the plane is here, straight north to south, it looks like, or virtually straight, as it comes down right between Severny and Stalber. And a lot of players are going to be very happy. This gives them the opportunity to go to Rozhok, Yasnaya, as well as Pochinki and the schools. And for the few that are committed and that really want to go, they have Novo, Milta, and the military base. And I feel like we've seen less and less people going for that military base than you would really expect.
Yeah, I do hope we see some here, and it looks like Ambition, another R drop there. Everybody else, actually, they're pouring out here now at the military base. Unexpected, as we saw the rest of the stack all up north. And yeah, I haven't seen a north to south trajectory on the plane like this in quite some time. Ripe for the picking are some of the very hot spots here on the map.
And this is also going to a lot for some players to do the typical play. They're going to land, get a car, and try to drive over. Katie Cake's actually one of the players that I can see right now looking to make it as far as she can, going to land down at a house, it would seem, potentially looking for some other cars, vehicles, go somewhere, get some loot. It looks like we're having a grenade fight. Mad Payne has no gun in his hand. He has a backpack on his back, and that's all he has going for him right now. And another player that knows where he is, a pistol that he's going to be able to pick up here relatively shortly. And he has to fight Jabberjaw. Both of them going to be reloading. The shots should be breaking out soon. I haven't seen a roof battle, but Jabberjaw going to opt, it looks like, to just instead run down into the building, potentially loot, or maybe try to get a different angle there on the Mad Payne and try to find the fight. And that's only 1 or 2 of 5 players that are in Yasnaya right now. And as we can see, the numbers are starting to pull down. Wino Cake, one of the players that did run down towards the military base, taken down very early. Schematic, a player we got to see last time, threatening to pan Reptar, but Reptar makes it on out.
Yeah, Yasnaya, I usually see like later in the game when I'm playing. It's a good spot to sort of run through if you have to push from the north down to the south. Some of the players, though, opting early to go through the apartments there, potentially has some great loot. Spaz TV all alone there in the crater, I never have that luck. That is 100% true. This is ripe for the picking here. You can definitely find some good loot here in the crater, next to Lushville, as it shall be named from now on, that 4-house little town there after that last victory. But I digress. Back to the game here. 66 alive, a very big circle to work in with enough room for players to get some pickings on the outskirts there and potentially ride that blue wave in. As you see, Napalm there, another name mentioned, usually working its way in from the outside of the circle into the middle, as we see Fairy Tale of Sin and Andrew Pons here sort of sizing each other up in these houses. I do believe they know each other are there, and we'll see what happens. UMP with Andrew Pons and sniper rifle and what looks like an M16 here for Fairy Tale of Sin.
Yeah, a lot of players still in this position kind of get locked in a deadlock where they don't want to be the one who makes the mistake of moving out. They don't want to be the one who gets caught out and gets shot. But with the positioning that Andrew Pons has, he can potentially jump out the back here, maybe sweep around Fairy Tale of Sin, kind of keeping eyes on this building, which ultimately is going to be beneficial for him. And it kind of puts Andrew Pons in a precarious situation. He doesn't really have the range. The ump still going to be strong, but up against an M16 and a VSS, it's going to be difficult for him. And it looks like he can use the map and the fall back maneuver, I guess, that he has right now running away. And Fairy Tale of Sin does not notice him because he just can't see past that house, but should see him in just a second, sees it, and might peek over there, knows he should be in that tower. It seems to be he's just deadpan set on staring at that wall.
Yeah, it's tough when you get locked in a situation like that, especially if you made the move early on to take as much time free falling and parachuting down as possible to try and get spread out from the rest of the group. As we see a firefight here from Pandavich and Reginald. Reginald goes down. Pandavich, the kill with UMP. But if you take a lot of time at the very beginning to drop down to the ground, you're already late on loot. Once you get locked into a 1v1 in a situation like that, you're losing potentially precious time to get more loot picked up.
Now with the circle spawn, and honestly right over where a lot of players already were just because of that the plane spawn, a lot of them not going to be as worried. A few that did drive away are going to be in a little bit of hurting for time, at least when it comes down to it. It's mainly the ones probably on the bottom island going to be the most difficult just because they still have to cross that bridge. Some up there in Georgia Pole might have a little bit of issues as there are a lot of players and there's a lot of potential to get caught out. But a few of these others are going to be fine as we're looking at Lipovka. Dr. Curie, again, over here, Fine, I think has been spotted out and is currently being hunted. But sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted, and it depends on whether or not Fine can find the shots that he needs. This has been a player that we've highlighted a few times, like you had mentioned earlier. He is currently on the leaderboard. He did really well a couple weeks ago, I remember, as it seems he was number 10 after week 2. Wasn't able to really perform as highly last week, but as it stands, he's still a pretty competent player, and as we can see here, he's looking for the blood. Both of these players waiting for each other, and honestly, at this point, the first one who catches them out is going to be the one that comes out. But Fine, almost looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, pretty consistent over the last couple weeks. Didn't show on the top 20 leaderboard in week 1. Placed second in game 3 in week 2. Second again in week 3 in game 1. And then placed 13th in game 2. So we've been seeing this a lot. You look at the leaderboard and you see how did that player get there, and you look back through their history, and it's just that consistency of top 20 finishes, a little here, a little there. He did pick up 8 kills in week 3 in that first game, 2 kills in the second game. So it all adds up in the long run, and he's sitting now in 3rd place as of the start of tonight. I feel like that's going to be shaken up, though, from that game 1 of tonight. So we'll see how he does now. This is an opportunity for Fine to solidify that place with a solid game 2.
It looks like, just kind of glancing over, there's going to be another state of 3 players. So this is the one that I think is my favorite formation when you see it, is that you get one player that knows someone's near him, another player that knows someone's near him, and then there's that third person that no one seems to remember. And not only that, but the minute one of them makes the move and one gets spotted out, you hear the shots, the third player is immediately notified. So usually you only come out of this with one person remaining alive. And that's really going to depend on the players here. Andrew Pones and Fairy Tale Sin both made it relatively far in the last game. And Psychotic is someone I remember highlighting in the last week. He didn't necessarily make it as far as he could. I remember he was in that rock bout on the side of the military base island. But he still has a lot going for him. And honestly, at this point, all you need is a few bullets. That's the only difference between life or death here. And Fairy Tale of Sin does not have a helmet, so he is definitely an easy target to try and pick off if you can hit those shots.
The rock bout, that was a classic moment in PUBG League history. Definitely seen how those players used that rock formation, and all the people scrambling across the water was something I will never forget.
And I think that one really helps highlight kind of what I expect from this one now, as it seems like we're going to be seeing Compot Trash pick up a kill. But that's what I expect, these players using the geography perfectly to themselves and to allow them to get the positioning they need, get the advantage they need. And for some players, it didn't work out as well as it could for others. I mean, we saw even with the high ground, it's not necessarily enough to confirm it. You get to see some nice grenades through here as well. And Compot Trash going to be kind of learning this the nice way, where he gets a nice set of ridgeline cover here on the beach. Going to be exposed to his back on the beach in Milta, but he is going to be able to keep himself protected from those who are firing shots at him from before. Moliak going to be up there with just a UMP, so he's not going to do as much damage at long range, but it's still enough that, again, you find the right shots, you can get a kill in this game. That's all that's going to matter. I mean, we saw last game, there was a long-range shot, but it was a one-shot shotgun headshot, and really that's all you need to be able to find.
Absolutely. It looks like a few players in the middle of the circle Some guns on the ground there. Andrew Pond, Psychotic, still here in a bit of a standoff. And one thing I did notice as we were looking at the map earlier, on the west side, on the northwest side, both Smithy and Lush are 1 and 2 spots working on the outside of the circle there, looking to work their way back in. And they are still pretty much right on top of each other there. Once they get looted up and start making their way towards the circle, be interested to see what paths they take and see if they run into each other.
Okapaki here going to be looting up. Not sure he knows that Lady Nalissa is right there. Might find out the hard way, though, because Lady Nalissa is sitting there ready with an up, more than likely on full auto, and going to be just patiently pointing at that door the minute she hears someone on the other side. That is going to get lit up. And, of course, you can shoot through doors in this, and that's going to be a potential hot play for her, although it looks like Okapaki might not be looking for the loot as much, might just be looking for a safe place to hang out for a little while he waits on the next circle, and this roof is going to do it. Although still relatively exposed, just trying to heal up, stay alive, and make it to the next zone is going to be the big play. But again, loot, greed, it overcomes, and a lot of people underestimate that, but I can guarantee there are a lot of players here who would be safe, and then they think, I'll go ahead and check that house, and the minute they do, that's their downfall.
Absolutely. I hate that rooftop there. It's so exposed to the hills around it. You get up there, you're like, oh, great, a rooftop here in the middle of nowhere. This would be a good sniping spot because there's so much open area, as you can see there. Looks like he's going to move in. And this, you think he knows she's there because it seems so as he makes his way around the corner. I'm not sure. Maybe he saw her through the window.
And is now running away. And it's one of those things, he might have heard it before. He might recognize that there's been a player there. And when it comes down to it, there's no other reason really I would expect to see Lady Nalissa here sitting there aiming at the door unless she knew someone was nearby. And of course, now with that door open and closing, she either thinks she's haunted or she knows that someone's going to be nearby. And I think it's going to be up to both of these players to kind of make that call. It seems like both of them would rather wait it out, see what goes on next. And again, don't be the first one to make the mistake, and that's going to be the waiting game when it comes down to it. For some people, that can get a little bit boring, but when it comes down to it, that's just the way you have to win. You have to play patient because the minute you get aggressive, you get too hot-headed, or for some people, you get too cocky. You're like, man, I already got 8 kills. No one can stop me. Then you get headshot and you drop down like it's nothing. And when it comes down to it, you're all meat bags, and the bullets do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. She's waiting very patiently. And that's what I like to see. If you don't really know what to do, sometimes the best option is to just sit still and wait and see what the circle does. We have Ziggy here working his way up this building, and the door opens. We might see some action here in the stairwell. Looks like they both know the other one is there, pushing in.
So Nim's hanging out just by the Dulcia spawn. Actually, had to have driven. Someone drove that car in there because that is not a natural car spawn when it comes down to it. Going to be sitting right behind that. And that's actually a great way to have makeshift cover when it comes down to it. If we see Ziggy come down, he's going to be able to expect, okay, he's going to be either behind that door, in which case he has the ability to get aggressive, or he's going to be waiting, looking at the staircase, or maybe even under the stairs. He's not going to be expecting someone to be right behind a car in a building like this. And this is going to be what kind of opens it up. He has the shotgun out. He has it ready and available. 5 shots to his name and a few attachments on there as well. It's just going to be up to him to find those shots, but it seems like he's still just a little bit timid. He has a Vector as well, so really close range is going to be the name of the game, but it just doesn't seem like he wants to get aggressive just yet. I think he still knows someone's nearby, but without hearing any footsteps, he might start feeling comfortable.
Yeah, maybe he heard the car drive in and that was it, and that gets his heart racing and gets him looking around. If the other player can pick this kill up on Ziggy, though, as you mentioned, a Vector, shoddy, stage 2 helmet there, Nems could potentially gear up even a little better than he is at the moment. Looking under the stairs, they're trying to get a beat on him. Of course, we've seen some people asking about first-person tournaments, and you know, a lot of this looking around and peeking around will change because of that. But right now, everybody is in this third person for the most part. So they get a little beat on the stairwell here. This is going to be a fight. He's pushing up. Here we go.
And Nim's actually with the advantage just because of the shape of the staircase right there. Pretty much only able to hit upper body or headshots, full auto on the ump with an extended mag as well. 40 bullets, able to pick up that kill like it's nothing. Is going to be able to get that loot easily too, as it seems like we're going to see Dr. Kiri over here taking some shots from Fast Killer, who doesn't seem too worried about using all of that ammo or giving away his position. Playing to his name, he's fast and he wants to kill, but he's just not going to be able to find the shots just yet, and he's going to have to kind of wait that one out. But smack dab in the middle of the circle as it stands right now, actually did get a kill, it seems, recently onto Godson. So it's going to be pretty good for him overall. He doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to worry too much, and he's in a good position. Yeah,
I see Lush in the middle of the circle. He's actually inside. Don't see Smithy, though, so I'm not sure if Smithy went down. Don't have a beat on him. I'd be interested to see if he's still in the match, because if not, Lush has a major opportunity here. Oh, I do see Smithy in the middle now. Thank you for that. Here we go on Smithy, holding down this house here, getting some loot. Fine, making his way in that direction. And we do have a fight here over where Lady Nalissa was. It looks like Dr. Kire has moved in on the action as well. And someone went down, Dr. Kire low with a pistol. And so this is a risk you take, though, if you're camping in that building, is at some point you start to feel the heat as players converge on where you are based on the circle pushing in, and you might feel pressed to move out of that building at this point. It looks like she's still going to stay in the building as Dr. Kire is down to about half health, loaded up that M16, and might try to get some shots on some of these passerbys.
And one of the big things I'm looking at is not only is there a lot of players, I mean, Sixth Rune right now does not even realize someone's looking at him, but the shot's going to miss and the window going to get shattered. Sixth Rune can win the sniper battle if he can get a good position, but he's going to take quite a few hits. But Neko was one I was looking at. He was driving around the complex. We've seen a few cars that have kind of come around and stopped here, and that's one of the things you were saying. When you are sitting in a building like this, while you're safe, eventually people are going to catch up to you. And when you hear shots and you know someone else has died, it's like, okay, I knew at least one person was near me. Someone else just died, and I heard the shots stop around me, so there's going to be more people. Then the shots resume again, like we just saw. You know that Lady Nalissa here is feeling just a little bit heated and a little bit pressured, and the nerves start to get to you, especially in a 1v1 scenario. Like, you know you can get the kill, but you have to hit those shots. You have no idea where this person is. You have no idea whether or not they have seen you through a window. You don't know if they know your position, and you don't know what guns they have. You don't know if they have grenades. Everything, when it comes down to it, it gets nerve-wracking. And as you can see, Lady Nalissa going to deal with that one right in the bathtub, take a nice little rest, try to get some bubbles going there, but have a sight on that door just in case anyone does decide to walk through. But the house is going to be safe for a little while longer. The circle's still closing in. A few of these players can take a little bit of tick damage, but it's not going to do a lot. As we see, I think Psychotic just barely outside the circle, still locked down over here, and going to end up taking some damage because of it, not able to get out, although Andrew Pones should be able to hit him from where he is sitting right now.
Yeah, has a line of sight there. Should be able to get the kill, especially with the ticks of blue on Psychotic. We're at 1 damage per second now. So start to tick a little further as we have 2:20 on the clock. Andrew Pons taking some shots. Has a nice spot here in this tower, but that spot isn't going to last for too much longer as the blue has moved in and the white circle has moved on. So right now, these players have to scramble, and this is the gamble you take by fortifying yourself in one of these outposts or houses while the circles are moving, because now you can see this white circle move completely across to the northeast of the map, and they're going to have a lot of ground to cover in a short period of time. It also takes away from that loot time, because now you just have to run.
Andrew Pones, I don't think realized that he had a player behind him. He was busy looking too far to the front, and now, I mean, we're going to see Ambition get taken down because Ambition was taking shots at him. Gray Ferret is the one credited with that kill, which means Andrew Pones is now potentially looking for that, but Psychotic's still down there. Psychotic healed up through that circle. Hamwood going to be joining up on this hill, and this is where things are going to go haywire. Andrew Pones is not full health, does not have a lot of health. He's going to be going for it. Shot's going to be found. He actually gets the kill onto Hamwig, but he's given away his position. There are 2 players at this point hunting him down and are very close. It looks like Gray Ferret might be going to run away, but Psychotic looking to be just that, and he's going to be coming up right on Andrew's tail.
Yeah, I think Andrew got lucky there. The other player did get the jump on him as Psychotic is running up the hill. Doesn't see just yet, but knows the shots came from that direction, looking potentially for the kill from behind as he moves in and runs. Yeah, that was amazing. I love this view as you see, unfortunately, the player just tunnel vision on what's in front. And is he going to get a second here? He does.
No.
Andrew Pones takes down Psychotic.
The perfect camouflage.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, like I said before, the RNG is not just in the loot you find. It's in the buildings you end up in. It's in the little nooks and crannies of the circle that you end up in. And sometimes just the type of clothes you might be wearing and the type of environment you might be sitting in. That was pretty amazing. That's fun to see. And that's the luxury and of having the spectator mode and being able to see it from that perspective is just so amazing.
And nothing's going to beat that feeling of watching this back and seeing that that's how close you were. As it sounds like Mad Payne just found a kill right on top of where Jabberjaws is. And Jabberjaws, I know he heard those shotgun shots and is starting to quake a little bit in his boots. I'm not sure he realizes that they're right above, and that's going to be it right there. Mad Payne just walks downstairs and shotgun to the face, and that's going to be all she wrote there, and he's going to be able to get that kill. But again, loud shots attract players, especially when you're in a city like that, and I have a strong feeling that we're going to see some people collapse, and this is a spot I have not seen in quite some time. The tunnels is another place kind of like the crater. It used to be a death trap, but a lot of players have stopped coming here as often. It looks like KM2K and Spaz TV are both going to be hanging around down there, and I think they recognize that there are going to be other people hanging out in here looking for that sweet loot.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Spaz was all alone in the crater and now is in the bunkers, as you mentioned, not seeing that a lot. It's very cool to see the places in the map that players are going to on live streams and in their own personal games versus where they're going in the tournaments. And of course, that is based on the drops out of the plane that we're seeing, the trajectory of the airplane. And where people land and where people want to go. But at the same time, we've seen some pretty centralized circles. And so you do have that choice of where you want to end up and if you want to go into the big cities and whatnot. And yeah, so far they've been staying away from the crater, but now some action in there. Hook Bay has a player right next to him. Matter of fact, 2 players next to him. They're outside of the circle, though. They're going to have to move a bit here. And this could get exciting once they start to run. That's what I always look for, is those players that are sitting there and are forced to run at some point. Who goes first? What happens at that point?
And that's going to be the big thing that I think, like, again, the big motivator for circle or for players is going to be the circles. It looks like Russ West is going to be downstairs, shotgun at the ready, energy drink, which makes me assume he does not have that much healing to his name, hoping that this can do what he wants. Now he has a first aid available. He's going to go ahead and start ticking up some of those heals. There's a player sitting right on top of him. All he has to do is run upstairs, and he should be able to get that. Although the molly on the stairs is going to cause a little bit of trouble, and the Molotov is one that we do not get to see too often. The grenade's going to be throwing down, but that's one of the few throwables, and that's a perfect opportunity to use it right there to stop players from getting aggressive on you and can't let you get that repositioning, and it seems like it's going to be working out just okay so far. The flashbang going to be coming out, though. Flashbang shotgun combo might be able to find Russ West to kill. But he's not going to rush up just yet. He's going up, looking around. But the shots didn't turn far enough, and Choxic going to be able to clean that one up.
That was nicely played. At first, I thought Choxic was be the victim there since he and gave away his position, but it paid off to sit at the top of the stairs there, and he did have the advantage and did get the kill. We do see a good amount of players on the ground and out at this point, 31 left alive. We have the circle sitting there, allowing some of these players to surf that wave in. But as you can see there, Rhino Main across the way is down. Players are getting killed left and right. 30 alive. We're here on the 4th circle, 1.5 DPS hitting. So you're going to start to see the circle play more of an impact here. And the circle is on the move. It's going to move on those players on the outskirts.
And now, again, the way that the map is going to be falling within the circle is going to be playing a big role. As you can see, a lot of these players will have some sort of sniper rifle, will have some sort of long-range scope, and Choxic actually kind of being lucky he has the SKS, which some players have started favoring a little bit more, just being able to get more rapid shots instead of one single very strong shot. as Reptar looking to get on a motorcycle. A couple players have died outside the circle so far, and it looks like he's trying his best to not continue on that train and get on out of there as fast as he can. I've actually been seeing, I believe Enap said he was driving a motorcycle and landed on the 3rd floor of a building in Yasnaya Poliana. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that, but we do get to see as a few more of these players are dropping. 23 left. Fine doing his best to stay in and stay fine. He's taking a few shots of damage from Pizuka, and it's not going to be the best spot for him.
Absolutely. They're moving in now. 22 left alive. And we're going to have 2 minutes now on this circle. Pizuka goes down to the play zone after taking a few shots. Looks like Fine is outside as well, although safe for the moment for a bit there. He was probably the one that got those shots on Pizuka. Does pop a little first aid and has a Jeep at the ready. Lady Nilissa, we saw in that building earlier, is still safe and sound. And we have a fight here in the field, which always just gets my heart going.
Hookbay going to be sitting down and going to be laying down now as he gets put down into the ground. Keza going to be able to pick up that kill, and that's just the problem. You leave that cover coming out on top of it. I believe 3 players were there. 1 comes out alive. With all the loot, still has about a minute to be able to get that. Katie Cakes got a kill and has managed to stay alive. And it's been a while, I feel like, since we've seen her be able to break into the top 20, but mainly the top 10. And I expect to see that might actually be something we could see here. Motorcycle, it's going to be a little bit more dangerous. You don't have as much cover, and you're loud. And, of course, the terrain does not seem to get along with the motorcycle at all. And it's going to be a little bit more dangerous. But overall, it seems like the players are trying to conglomerate over there into the circle, still looking for that path in. But at this point, vehicles are a lot more risky, and I feel like a lot of players are going to start leaving them behind.
Yeah, we have a few players here on the edge of the circle. Cakes getting lit up there as she rides that motorcycle in. We see Temp Warrior go down. Machine Gunner gets the kill on Keza. We're down to 16 left alive. Circle number 5, 3 DPS, damage per second as that blue rolls in. 20 seconds left. These players are going to have to hustle to get in the safe zone.
Now the running's going to start. 15 left, and a lot can get picked off just because of the way the circle is going to be moving. It looks like Reptar going to be hovering on the very edge. We're looking at Iridy going to be having a sight right onto Choxic, who's going to be able to find the shots, but not the last one he needed. The trade goes in favor of Iridy, but unfortunately for you, that circle's closing, and you do not have the time to heal. That's going to take 2 more players out right there. Kill 1, lose your own life, as the rest of them are all running back into the circle, looking to try and find whatever cover they can. But a lot of these players, especially people like Nobsy, they don't have a lot of cover. Depending on how they want to play it, they're going to get caught out, and he's going to take shots. Tactician going to be able to take some hits and run away, but Tactician's safe. He can turn around and take these fires as much as he wants, but he's low health. 1 hit is all it's going to take, and with just steady aim and precision, Nobsy's going to be able to close that one out.
Closes it out. It's going to be another close heal, though. Get it? It looks like just bandages at this point, and he's going to go down to the circle. 10 alive, 126 left on the blue to push in, and we are down to the top 10 here. Fast Killer, you see, we've seen before. Reptar as well. Compat Trash and Fine still in there. Machine Gunner, very low on health, ticking away to the blue. It looks like he might fall to the blue, although he does pop a first aid kit there, so he might be able to make his way in. We've seen him riding that blue wave from time to time, but he is way outside of the circle when we get down to this smaller circle. Fine, though, I think it's very important to note, currently 3rd place coming in today, although he's going to take some shots from outside the circle on Machine Gunner. If Fine can stay alive right now, he has a good opportunity to not just hold on to that 3rd spot, to potentially push into the 2nd spot as well.
And Machine Gunner's in this position, it's probably the worst one you can be in. You have a limited number of meds. You have a timer as to how long you can stay out there. And while he's doing it right now, and it's so far working out for him, there are people watching the edge of that circle. The minute he runs in, I actually think he has stopped moving. It seems like he's either trying to heal or this is just going to be another death of the circle. A lot of players waiting it out over here, but when I'm looking into the circle, Andrew Pone seems to be taking some fire. Compote Trash as well as Reptar going to be very close to each other. Fast Killer players that we don't get to see right now are going to be Lush and Smithy, who must have died earlier on. Machine Gunner still outside the circle, more than likely going to die here as we have 5 players left. Fine got taken down. Machine Gunner still remain. I'm genuinely impressed that at this much damage that the circle is doing, he has stayed alive this long. I don't see it happening much longer, but as it stands right now, Fast Killer is the one I want to watch just because M249 on the back, ghillie suit around him, and running right up to the point where someone is hiding in a shack. Not going to be able to find him. But Machine Gunner raining hell from outside one more time. At this point, I think he's dead to rights, but he is still making sure he's giving trouble to every other player.
Reptar takes down Andrew Pons. Machine Gunner finally does go down to stay alive. Gets a heal. You see that pre-med popping. Compote Trash in the shack there. Has a good eye on these players, but it's going to be really hard to get a good angle with some firepower on them. The best position, I think, is either Reptar here behind the tree, although he is the furthest away from the circle. Fast Killer, I think, with the ghillie suit and all that firepower you mentioned, pretty well geared up, I think is the player to watch, as you said, because he does have a good angle here. He's got that area there behind the hill, throwing about 50 frag grenades at the shack there. That is a cement shack, though, so not doing much damage there. But we are in the top 3, 35 seconds until these players are pushed into that small circle. 7.5 damage per second on the blue as they rush in and try and survive to get at least in a position where they can take these other players down. This is the tough spot, though. 3 alive, I think, is always pretty crazy because you want to try to let those other players maybe take each other out or at least do some damage to each other unless you know you have the upper hand on both of them. So it looks like the other 2 players might be seeing each other. They're switching to grenades and smoke grenades. So throwing out those projectiles as the blue starts to push in. Here we go.
The shot's going to be good. Reptar knows exactly where Compote Trash is, but unfortunately for him, he is out in the open. He's the one who needs to make the move. Fast Killer going to be able to clean that one up. Compote Trash has to leave the shack. It's not inside the circle, just barely outside of it. And the smoke grenade looking to be good, but he has no cover to run to. This is looking like it's going to be Fast Killer's game as long as he can get those shots down. But the ridgeline playing the edge both ways. Compote Trash can't see him. Fast Killer can't see them. But the shot's coming down, standing just on the edge of the circle and barely able to get anything out. He doesn't have any cover, and he actually finds the shots, the headshot with the AKM at the end. Fast Killer had 6 kills, but he wasn't fast enough. And Compote Trash ends that one. Only 3 kills to his name, but he still got the number 1.
That was really well played. To find those precision shots with a sliver of health at the end there takes some pretty massive willpower, some willpower to keep the shakes from just ripping your keyboard and your mouse out of your hand, to keep your heartbeat at a rate where it doesn't overpower the sounds in the game. And it was really well done. Definitely on the lower side in the top 3 there with 3 kills as Fast Killer rounds out the second spot with 6. Reptar with 7 kills in 3rd place. But a nice play at the end there where I honestly thought Fast Killer was going to take the win and get a 7th kill there for the number 1 spot. But Compote Trash holding that area and holding the composure and taking the win.
Yeah, just keeping, again, steady aim and precision. That's all you need. You get a headshot. A couple of those are going to be a lot stronger than a body shot, and you see as that takes the victory right there, and that's going to end this portion of it. We do still have one more game to go through for week 4, and of course, we have a little bit of a shakeup. You're about to see the screen that you're going to look at is going to have the top 10 scores. Just for anyone who was confused by that, that is from last week. We don't have the updated for this week just because we haven't finished this week's games yet. But as you can see, with a few players taking number 1. I mean, just like what we saw last week, players whose names we haven't seen yet are coming up to the top and able to kind of close out the games and put themselves right on the leaderboard. I mean, I'm looking, the Muffin Boy last week was number 1 in game number 3. He had a single kill, and it was the very last one, and he is going to be sitting, he's number 17, but he's got 33 points to him, and really that's the kind of thing we're going to be looking at is as these players get these kills, put themselves up, we are seeing leaderboard shakeups. And while Smithy and Lush do have a pretty hefty lead, there's no guarantee at this point. High kills and high placing is going to be the name of the game. But with that, we're going to take a short break just as we get the next game set up, bring it to you as fast as we can when it comes down to it. And we will talk to you again shortly with game number 3.
See you soon.
And we are back, game number 3, and this time you don't get the scenic sunset, but a nice, gloomy, rainy day. This is going to actually affect the players in a fun way as we get to see a little bit less vision, really, when it comes down to the map, but we'll have to see how that one shakes out when we get into the actual game. But as it is for right now, introductions are due, and as it has been all day, again, I am Gormizer, and once again, joined by me on the desk is going to be Heyday, and I believe you're as excited to see this one as I am.
Absolutely. I was kind of hoping we would save the ring pan-off, but since the pan-off is most likely not going to happen just by looking at the leaderboards as they are right now.
There's still hope.
Yeah, there is still hope, but maybe this will be a good preview for that potential pan-off. As you see, a left to right movement of the plane, west to east, going over Georgia Pole there. That's going to leave the waterways there, the crates down on the harbor, and the city there with all of its apartments, free reign. And you can see down on the south side of things, those players, Lush there, Private O'Neill, pushing as far south as they can right now. As you see the rest of the spread, it's going to take us over Rozhok, Pachinki, and the rest of the middle of the map there.
And we can see a lot of players actually look like they're aiming towards the school. And this is one of the ones that's been always fun to watch the very beginning of, and watching it kind of bash off as it kicks off. And I feel like we're going to be treated for it as we see them landing on the top. Godson and Tactician, both players that have been kind of tried and true. Those are the two names I picked up as we kind of follow Tactician landing down. No gun inside except for a pistol. It looks like he's going to have 15 shots to prove himself. Snyder's going to be right there. A med kit and a backpack. Very, very well placed for Tactician, but of course he has to live to be able to use those proficiently. And without a helmet to his name, one headshot's all it's going to take. He's going to get spotted out. He fires a couple shots, and it looks like he's looking for the first blood. 2 pistols, 1-on-1, but neither one able to close it out. And I actually like the play, jump out of the window, coming out from it and allowing to see like Snyder get some repositioning as well as a Dop down there. Now in the first floor, going to be able to kind of loot up just a little bit more. And a beautiful level 3 helmet, and Snyder, he's going to be able to get a little bit more aggressive now.
Yeah, some pretty great loot as far as gear goes. Not so much with the weapon yet. A good group here at the school, another good group at the apartments, very close by. This could be a early bloodbath. We're down to 60. Tactician getting caught out here by the pistol. 1 shot away from going down, running down the hallway, takes a shot to the back. Snyder with the kill. 59 left.
And Snyder getting a kill, not only right there with the perfect time to be able to like fire off that last shot, but also being able to get it with the revolver. He's just going to kind of pull out that Jesse McCree, get that out there, get those shots that he can. And really, that's the one thing. The revolver is one people do not like to use. Still does a lot of damage. 7.62 ammo, has a decent range on it. That's the reason that this is a gun that does not allow a sight. You can't put a red dot on it like you can the other pistols, and that's just because with it, you could potentially snipe. You can get some nice headshots, and as we just saw there, it can chunk a lot of players. We're going to be able to get that. 59 players remaining. The first circle just having spawned, going to have about 4 minutes before anyone is really going to be running in there. No pressure for them, although there are a lot of players still in these big cities. I'm actually looking, there's a big grouping in Georgia Pole right now, which is a little bit more surprising, but they're all right on the edge and pretty much guaranteed to run into each other the minute the circle starts closing.
Yeah, players all over the map right now. We see players there down Dies here is taking off in a Jeep. Moliak is taking some pretty aggressive damage. Looks like from a fist fight up there. Again, these players finding here Moliak with a level 2 backpack, but no weapon in sight. Very low on health, just trying to stay alive here. We see Pizuka down there as well. Dies making his way around. A good group there, but they are literally spread all across the map right now. This circle, first circle, is here in the north side, sort of central to the map. This is going to allow some play for 70 up there at the top. In the Stalba ruins, Reptar is working his way through there all alone. Fine and Savage above the lake there at the end of the river. And all in all, you can see which players have opted to loot in that circle there and hit up the main towns of Rozhok. And right now in the apartments there, 3 different players looting 3 different buildings. Snyder's still working on the school.
And still working on getting anything other than a revolver, although it seems like he might be feeling a little bit more comfortable with that. Unlucky, I want to say, is really when it comes down to it. You get level 2 armor, level 2 backpack, and a level 3 helmet. You get what looked like some decent meds. I saw him pick up at least 1 energy drink. And all you can find is that revolver. And with a few other players around him, he's going to have to land those shots, especially since Compo Trash has a shotgun. And we see right there, Dippy is looking like he has a rifle to his name. He's going to be in the pool building over there, having a little bit of PE time, as he just kind of patiently waits and gets the aggression. I think they know that each other are around, but no one knows quite where to look. And this is another place where we're going to see the rain come into play. Footsteps are way more masked right now. It's a little bit harder to hear anyone sneaking up on you. And for players like Compo Trash in this position with a shotgun and just kind of waiting patiently to get a good position to take down Dippy, that's exactly what you need. You need this rain to cover your tracks.
Absolutely. And those players both doing pretty well with vests. And we're about 5 minutes into the game. We're here in the first circle. It's 0.5 damage per second as the blue comes in another minute or so. And now these players, Real Napalm here, who we've seen the last couple weeks, and the others here in the apartments with the sniper rifle up there, doesn't see Napalm down below, actually focusing on the school there. And I've seen this in a lot of games where you have these 2 different groups fighting in the school, fighting over the loot in the apartments. But at some point, someone gets on the rooftop with a high-power rifle and a scope or so, and then you start getting picked off from what seems like across the map when it's just right over the horizon there.
So we're looking, Neko, the VSS is one of those snipers that I personally have a love-hate relationship with. I think it's awesome that it comes standard with a silencer and a 4X. If you have ever shot a VSS, and this goes for pretty much everybody, the bullet drop is insane. You have to aim so carefully, and that just goes over distance. Because it's 9mm, it's not going to be good enough. As I see, Compo Trash did just pick up Snyder in the school, but I think that will give away his position to Dippy if Dippy is still around and available. But it looks like he might be alone in the school right now. No, Dippy's still in and they're in the same building even, and actually might be able to find a good shot onto him if he gets aggressive. He does have a full auto gun, might be able to find it, but right now, no matter what, they will be able to have to worry again about this sniper, Neko, who is looking over at the school. He knows players are going to be over there. Everyone goes there. Almost every single game we've had, there's been at least 3 players that go to the school. Whether they go there initially or they make their way over there, it's going to happen. And he's going to be kind of laying in wait with that sniper in order to take those shots whenever it happens.
The blue is pushing in now, which is going to force players that were, especially those in the middle of the white circle. We see about 5 players down there, 6 even with Redders and AXU TV down there in the town. Spaz TV as well. Those players are going to have to make their way up across the bridges. And we have another fight here, Miss Psychotic, or rather MG. Sorry for butchering your name. We'll just go with Psychotic. That's easier. And getting some shots there, but not getting the kill.
And Neko actually going to get taken out by a headshot there. His sniper is going to be down. It looks like Dippy, as well as, I mean, pretty much everyone who has been sitting over in this area, is still just kind of hanging around. I don't think the same aggression that we saw with the shotgun earlier from Compo Trash is going to be coming through, but it seems like the players are being a little bit more lax. I did not realize you could jump into that window. Dibley showing me something new here over at the school. Going to be able to make his way up there. And again, a nice little spot to get vision, and with the third-person camera being able to kind of use that to your advantage. Although staying around and hovering in the pool room is something I have not seen players really do. Not a lot of loot to get in that building, and I feel like he's just kind of waiting for the fact that he knows players are nearby. It looks like a Royal Titan in a little bit of a sticky situation.
Yeah, sticks the bike into that rack there, has to abandon. For him, it's in the circle. We see Jabberjaw and a few others trying to make their way in. Spectating Smooth Carbon now very close to R-Stack, who's in the building there. Looks like they see each other. Switching to the Vector might make a push here. And if so, we could potentially see our first under 50 here of this game already in the second circle. This is 0.5 or 0.75 rather DPS on the blue, and that's pushing in now, about to happen.
With the few of these purple, actually, Jay Snipe's going to be taking shots. I believe sees Smooth Carbon, or sees the one Smooth Carbon was going for on the roof. R-Stack up there, going to be taking some damage, and it honestly seems like a bad position pretty much for everyone involved except for Jay Snipes, where he is able to kind of get up on this roof and kind of have an eagle's view of where he needs to go. Smooth Carbon, though, might use that as his cue to get aggressive. R-Stack will be kind of making some misplays because he's being shot at. He knows he needs to get on the move, and Smooth Carbon is in the position to kind of pick up on this. I mean, just small misplays, anything. If he steps out of position, Smooth Carbon can kind of eat that alive. The same thing kind of goes for him. If he steps out too far, Jay Snipes is going to have a nice beat on him, should be able to get those shots, but it seems like the players might be at a little bit of a stalemate. R-Stack might be able to hear Smooth Carbon's footsteps, although I think he's far enough away that along with the rain isn't heard. He might just be kind of waiting there because he knows he's safe in the circle. He knows someone knows where he is, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't make the wrong move.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Jay Snipes to live up to his name and take these guys out from range. He does have the upper hand there, though, opting to leave, as I think he was sensing that stalemate that you mentioned there. This type of building here with the two-story, many rooms, this is my love-hate relationship in the game. I found so many times this building is so inviting. It has some nice balconies you can perch on. It has a lot of rooms potentially for loot, but it's felt like lately that the loot in those buildings hasn't lived up to par. As you can see, we go back to the apartment buildings here. These are the ones that are near the school, and still two players, Real Napalm and Rusvest there, are working on those apartments and trying to get what's left of loot there, as a firefight with Fast Killer, placed second last round, gets the kill on Fairy Tale of Sin. Those are a couple names we've seen in the top 25 now. So a nice take for Fast Killer there. Was highly looted at the end of the game last time. Looks to be pretty well looted here as well, and safe in the circle. Looking to potentially pick up some more kills here on Dyes and Reginald.
Dyes and Reginald are both very close to each other, and I know Fast Killer, he has a hunch. Whether or not he knows exactly where they are is up in the air, but he knows there's going to be other players here. He's going to go try to loot what he can while he still has those spoils around. Dyes potentially saw him running across and is going to be kind of looking for that. And Reginald over there in a little bit of a smaller building, going to be kind of suffering the same thing, where he can look out the window, and depending on the path that Fast Killer makes, might be crossing paths with them relatively soon. But to get three players in a tight area like this, and all of them potentially able to see each other very shortly, which is hardly any movement, is going to be going through is Fresh Pepper Tony and Hook Bay, going to be making it just into the circle there. Fresh Pepper Tony is going to be driving right by where we see these other three players, potentially going to get shot at as he goes through. And it looks like Dyes is going to be the one to make the first play. He saw Fast Killer run away, and it looks like he's going to try and get the beat on him and get the rotation that he wants. And Fast Killer is none the wiser right now.
Yeah, he's definitely got a beat on him, got the angle. Just has to be careful that he doesn't get spotted by Fast Killer. Fresh Pepper Tony is a name that we haven't called at all tonight, and it's a name that I love to hear and I love to say. So good to see him making his way into the action here as well. Dyes and Fast Killer sizing each other up. Fast Killer gets taken down, came out a little too far from that rock there, and Dyes with the kill is going to go in for the loot, but he's also going to get shot up and stays alive somehow. Reginald gets him very low.
Now Reginald looking to run get the rotation around. Dai's actually got the heal off there in that rock too, so that's going to be very good for him. But it's again the same kind of stalemate that we've been seeing. Dai's is sitting back there, and Reginald is just waiting for him to take a peek. And Dai's doesn't seem to know where he's rotated to. He's too busy looking where he was, not thinking about where he could be. And he's looking to get the same play that happened to him used against him. The rotation on this rock, although the shots are going to be good right through the window, and he's going to be able to find Reginald like it's nothing. Jay Snipes finally takes down our stack over there in Georgia Pole, I believe that was. And now we're seeing these players finally get some kills. 44 are left.
Yeah, you could tell he really wanted that loot there, and he was by Reginald. Finally gets the kill with some nicely placed shots through the window. Circle is moving in about a minute, and this is going to start being some pretty significant ticks of damage to the players. Smooth Carbon working now, and we see 42 left. We have a few players out on the cusp or the edge of the circle, and some players still in the blue at this point, making their way in. Moliak low, Smooth Carbon moving in on the house. Moliak does get a heal off. Looks like a first aid kit. Has the AK in here, and is definitely knows Smooth Carbon is there somewhere and ready and waiting. We'll see who pushes first, who gets the upper hand. Going to the window, going down the stairs now. I love how we can see his movement through the house from the outside, and Smooth Carbon pushing now. We'll see what happens here in just a moment.
Making the slow rotation around. And again, we got to see that through his eyes, so he knows where Moliak is. But it feels like Moliak might recognize he's getting watched, or he just wanted to make sure, is this house safe? Vector out, extended mag, full auto, SMG is ready. Wouldn't be surprised to see Smooth Carbon open that door and go on in if he wants to, but he's trying to level out that first floor, make sure everything's clear. Doesn't have a frag grenade on his belt, so it looks like he's going to have to deal with this one the old-fashioned way with a gun 1v1. And it looks like the patience might pay off depending on how it goes. Still kind of worried about entering the building at all. Has gotten right up it. And the minute he enters, the footsteps are going to be a little bit louder. It's going to be a lot more noticeable coming in. But he has his sight set on something else. He's going to go ahead and steal that car, and Moliak is going to be left with nothing. Although the headshot right from the window saves his UAZ and gets him some nice loot.
That was nicely played. It's always very frustrating, and your car is taken right out from under you. We have some action going on here. Dies, who was taking his pick of the litter there with some nicely placed shots, go down as well. Compound Trash still alive, placing fairly well in the last game. And we see Fresh Pepper Tony healing up over there, but it looks like he has just a shotgun with a couple of shells in it as we see the perspective of Compound Trash. And Fresh Pepper Tony behind the truck there, trying to get an angle. He does have a rifle as well. Compote Trash needs to peek up if he wants to get a shot off, and that could be dangerous here, although he does have a level 3 helmet. Playing it safe. These two players sizing each other up. Does throw a frag on the left-hand side. Fresh Pepper Tony running towards it, but it's well off in the distance. And Fresh Pepper Tony alive for now.
With the cover that they have available to them, they have like the perfect sized walls to really hide behind. Both of them have the rifles to keep it long range. Both of them do have grenades that they want to get it. But Compote Trash, I believe, because of the high ground, because of the way the roof is working, it works against him and for him at the same time. He has better cover, but the only thing that's going to peek out over that wall is going to be his head. And that's all Fresh Pepper Tony needs. He needs to just be able to see that and pop you right in your peepers. As it stands right now, Fresh Pepper Tony has the beat on him, has the sights that he needs to, but he's going to be pushing forward. And again, the third-person camera is going to be playing a big role here for Compote Trash, but the frag's going to be going out up into the sky. Comes crashing down. Not going to connect, though, unfortunately for him.
He throws another, goes well up in the air. It does hit near Compote Trash, but Compote moves around the building there. He is in a good spot with that cover. He has a couple different places on the rooftop there that he can rotate. And just in case his vest is destroyed in this fight, he has a level 1 vest there as well you can pick up. The circle is sitting here with 36 left. Everybody in safe areas except for Nems there. We see Why No Cake here in a firefight stuck in this little shack, and 36 left. We're on circle 3, starting to tick pretty heavily on the damage if they get caught out. This is an interesting white circle. So many times we see the white circle off center to the blue. This one is north of it, but pretty equal distance on all other sides for these players to get into the safety of the white.
So Fresh Pepper Tony going to be taking the aggressive play here. He still thinks Compote Trash is up on the top of the roof, and Compote Trash has moved expecting a play like this and is going to be playing it a little bit careful. And so we're going to see Fresh Pepper Tony. He's getting aggressive. He has a shotgun out. He's ready to go. He's probably preparing himself all sorts of mentally for someone watching the door. And then there's no one there. And Compote Trash drops down, might be able to make it out or at least catch Fresh Pepper Tony off. Because he jumped off that second roof, is actually able to make it away a little bit safely. And now he has cover. And this is going to be one of the better kind of plays you can make in PUBG, because when you're looking at it, Fresh Pepper Tony knows someone's nearby. No idea where he is anymore. He doesn't know if he's flanked around. Maybe he dropped down. He's coming back in the building. Is he going to come up behind me? Is he going to be coming up as able to see me? Does he have frag grenades? You get on their nerves. You start to just mess with them mentally, and that affects how you play. That affects the decisions you make. That affects where you're going to go. Right now, Fresh Pepper Tony is going to be laying on the roof with a shotgun pointed at the door, whereas Compote Trash is going to be trying to think of where exactly he could possibly go. And again, all it needs is one well-placed frag. Again, he has a level 3 armor backpack, or level 2 armor backpack and helmet going to be level 3 there, but it looks like the buggy's the call. I don't know how much I agree with it. One well-placed shot could try and get this one away, but it doesn't look like Fresh Pepper Tony is going to be able to get it. And I actually think he just drove in the circle to go on the bridge, because there's a river right here. And unfortunately, that means we're going to have to see some swimming. Compote Trash going to take some damage from the circle. The same thing for Fresh Pepper Tony. They were a little bit too far away when that one started.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was really cool to see. Compote Trash makes a run for the buggy right in the line of sight. Fresh Pepper Tony up top. Fresh Pepper Tony turns his back for a moment, and Compote Trash is able to steal the buggy out from under him and get safely out of the blue there. He's riding that wave right now, and Fresh Pepper Tony, unfortunately, is swimming in the blue. We see a firefight here where AXUTV is going to kill Kevin with a scar, and that leaves us with 30 left, and the circle here in the north, and that's going to basically give us Razak, Yasnea, and the rest of the surrounding area there.
So Why No Cake in here, bunkered down still, but he does have a nice sniper to his name, and it looks like a nice scope to go with that sniper. And honestly, this is the kind of position you want to be in. On the very edge of the circle, you know players are going to be coming in. He's looking for those kills, and he's going to be looking to be able to just kind of pick them off. And with the strength that he has, as long as he can hit the right shots, should be able to do so. Spifferoo, I think the main target for him. He's seen him over there once, but doesn't have enough line of sight to be able to get him just because of that tree. And might not know he's still over there. Might have thought, okay, maybe he ran away, and now he's turned his vision elsewhere. But again, a nice grenade. The one thing that's bad about these shacks, one well-placed grenade, you either have to run out the front door or you blow up with it. But it looks like Spifferoo is going to get spotted out one more time. The headshot going to be good, but the level 3 helmet just a little bit better right now. But Spifferoo is feeling that one, and you know he's starting to get worried.
Very lucky to survive that shot. Nicely placed from the shack there. The other problem with those shacks is that you can't really shoot out the windows. You have great visibility, but not a lot of great area to shoot from. He has to shoot from the door, which is pretty risky. He leans out, though, and gets a nice shot off. Gets Spifferoo very low on health. Still just surveying the area, trying to see what's around. Spifferoo is going to run out of there. It's a smart move to get away. Doesn't want to take another shot like that. Was able to heal up. 26 alive, and these players are making their way into the circle right now. Enap, though, he's looking for blood. He's out for blood. He's making his way outside of the circle to see who's out here and who he could potentially pick up. Psychotic here in the bush. We haven't seen a lot of bush play tonight, so it's good to see. We had some great bush play last week with Choxix in the bush and able to, I believe he took out Smithy at the end of that great game where Dark Dreams went 12 kills for the win. Katie Cakes also in relative safety here in the building. We see some feet sticking out in the bottom. There was a play last time where like the poor feet were just too long out
That's
of the
all it
back.
takes to end it. Yeah, if
Yeah.
they can see any part of you, that's all it's going to need. And speaking of seeing any part of you, why no cake right now? All he needs to see is a little bit of Spifferoo, and he should be able to get the kill. But he's taking some fire himself. One straight bullet's all it's going to take, and that's all that's going to count right there. Real Napalm gets that kill, and we're going to be seeing right now. I see Private O'Neill just fell. One thing I was watching while you were talking was the kill feed here, and Grace was the name that I saw pop up. I think twice in a row, getting some kills. Took out Lush and is believed fell through and took out Andrew Pones as well. Just killing off some of these players that are higher up there and looking to try and get a high kill count as we go into the later game. And at this point, with a nice position inside the circle, just on the tip of Severny, so no one would really look into this house. They'll think you're probably farther in. And some shots going down. Compo Trash very low, but is going to be able to make it into that shack just before the final hit. Grace not able to hit those last couple shots. And that's going to be able to spell the difference. Now, position going to be known at least by one player. And cars converging. This might be a hut that comes under scrutiny. Russ West driving just right by.
Yeah, that's important to note, because what we've been seeing tonight is that sort of random players who aren't necessarily up there on the main leaderboard throughout the weeks are getting wins with significant kill counts, which basically helps the top two players, Lush and Smithy. It really keeps those players sort of in the middle of the leaderboard from climbing up. But with Smithy still in the game, we did see Lush go down. So this is going to potentially allow some of these players to climb back up again. So I love the fluctuation of this point system and the finales we're seeing, and that except for a couple days where we saw Lush take 2 games in a row, Smithy's been very consistent. Other than that, we've seen other players come in and take victories out of nowhere. And that's a nasty kill on Okapaki from Kaiza. And we have 20 left here, with the circle pushing in just about a minute.
Yeah, finally being able to kind of close down on the top 20. And this is where sometimes I want to say this is where your equipment is going to matter. At the same time, I also recognize there's still people who are going to get kills with UMP at long range for some of these top 20s, although it's already gone down to 18 as we see some M16 and M416 going to be coming through, finding some shots. Kaiza going to be running through Severny as carefully as possible, as it looks like Fine going on the edge of the circle. A lot of these players kind of playing the long roundabout way. It kind of keeps you a little bit safer, as it looks like Fine actually going to look and get some loot. Lady Nalissa here just outside the door. Compo Trash still alive. Psychotic just took out Katie Cakes, which is going to be unfortunate for her and any of her fans. Total T-Mac going to be able to catch Nalissa running away, but not going to be able to find the shots for her. I don't think he knows where she went. I don't think he saw her player model, but the door opens, the shots are fired. Melissa going to get taken down. AKM to the back. Did not look left when you walked right in. That ultimately pays the price.
You can see Fine moving his way into the, as Fresh Pepper Tony is getting shot up. Total T-Mac took down Lady Nalissa there, posting up in that house, but is going to have to move. The circle is pushing in. This is the 5th circle. This is 3 damage per second. So this is going to start to really hurt. And you can see some of these players as we look around the battlefield are very low on health.
Wait a minute. And I'm going to add, so this is going to be the first time we're seeing shots, and the thing I'm interested in is not the fact that Fresh Pepper Tony is getting peppered down and going to die. The thing I'm interested in is I just saw Machine Gunner's name. It was very faint. That was definitely him, because he's the only one with all casts. Can you zoom out of this map as much as possible? What is he doing over there? How was he alive?
He's playing the old heal for your life game.
He's in the top 9. There are 8 players in the circle, and then there's Machine Gunner. I saw it was very faint on the edge of the screen, but you could see as they were running. I'm like, what? Like, that is definitely a player nameplate, but that is way too far away.
That's great. I still don't even see where he is.
He's over there in Georgia Pole. He's just hanging out, doing his thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah,
and he's still alive.
Up again. Yeah, just collecting all the health that he can get. Smithy still alive here, top 8. Compo Trash goes down to Dr. J.
And they're
Smithy
actually
looking
seeing,
to pick up a skill.
yeah, Sniffy throwing out the shots. And this is something that he's been kind of known for. Like, he doesn't play too passively. Dr. J actually looks like he has a bead on the Fine looking for those shots as things get just a little framey for you, but we should ultimately be able to see things. Just the line of sight, but Dr. J, again, not able to find those kills just yet. There it is.
Yeah. He finally went down outside the player zone. 7 left. We see Dr. J's perspective. Fine is who he's shooting at there. Fine is currently, as of last week, in 3rd place. So some good finishes here tonight are definitely going to help him. He's moving in, though, on AUX TV, or AXU TV, rather. And he gets a beat on him, although he's in a bad spot here, and he's going to die to the blue and some shots from Fine. That was an unfortunate spot for him. It did look like he got the jump on Fine. Fine finally goes down to Keza. We're here with 4 left in a tiny circle. The blue pushing in a minute 24.
3 of these players already in that circle feeling safe, although not too safe as Smithy takes down Blue's 2s and might have a beat over here. Keza still has to make their way into that circle, and that's going to be probably the most difficult spot. 2 players left. And Smithy doesn't need to get aggressive. I like the fact that he's using the hill, the ridge, to kind of use that rotation to try and find some cover, get some loot. It's looking like he still wants a little bit more. You're in the top 2 and you're still looting, but it's not going to pay off too well just yet. He doesn't need too much, except maybe some meds when it comes down to it. It looks like a nice sniper going to be pulled out. Keza does have that vision, but again, on the edge of the circle, 40 seconds to make this play. And when it comes down to it, in that 40 seconds, you have to run across a wide open field. There is a rock and a car between you and the person who's trying to kill you. And it looks like it's just going to be Keza patiently waiting.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier endings to these games. Smithy does look like he definitely has the circle side. Keza does have a buggy there. Looks like he might jump inside and go for a dash here to maybe a more advantageous spot. We do have a couple trees and a little bit of a hillside, as you mentioned, as cover, but not much more than that. He is taking advantage of this moment where Smithy is prone on the ground crawling. And so we could see a rush into the circle here. And this might not necessarily go Smithy's way, even though he has the advantage at the moment.
Right now, popping the shots. 1 more is all he needs to find, but the jukes are going to be good. Keza not able to find the shot, though. Smithy finally finding his way back up to the top. It's been a little while. He's been at the top of the leaderboard, but he hasn't been number 1 for a little bit, but that's going to put him right up there. Only 3 kills, and I'm looking at... Machine Gunner got number 8, and he didn't even fight. Machine Gunner has 0 kills. Machine Gunner was just healing. And I actually... So for everyone who's going to be watching this, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. I have notes. I keep notes for this. Literally, the first note on that is Machine Gunner and Real Napalm prefer to play outside the zone. Yeah, it says for the first circle, although that's started to change more recently. It's been going a little bit long. They just heal up the damage, and they loot the cities that are abandoned. This time he didn't even need to loot. He just hung out there, and he managed to make it top 10, which is just an interesting play to come down for it. But it wasn't enough to get him number 1. He didn't have that many meds. And when it comes down to it, it's looking like Smithy should be able to retain his spot, even with the points that Lush got earlier for that win. Not going to be able to catch up since they're both going to move up to the next amount. But still some shakeups looking like they could happen in the leaderboards.
Absolutely. And also exciting, which I just thought of, we've seen the top kills from Dark Dreams with 12. What will the top points be at the end of the 5 weeks? That will also be an interesting stat for me, at least, to see how far these players not only push their wins and how consistent they are with that, but also the extra points for kills as well. Smithy with the win has been very consistent throughout the weeks. And like you said, we'll most likely keep that top spot. Lush playing well today as well. We've seen Fine there in the end. Katie Cakes, I think, in the last couple weeks has fallen a little bit, but has played very toughly today and should do well to stay in the top 6 or so. And a couple wild cards jumping in there as well with wins today.
And it's been, I mean, eventful, to say the least. I think I've seen this week was more funny moments. I think the last few weeks have been a couple of like hot grenades being thrown out, getting those like really hype kills. This one had a lot of moments that were just, what are you doing? Especially when it comes down to the way that Machine Gunner handled that last one. But with that, if you're looking at trying to figure out how to play, this is week 4, so we have 5 weeks for season 1. So there's only going to be one more week where you can try to get points. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to break it to you, even if you win all 3 of the games next week, which is going to be difficult already, I don't think you're going to be able to make it into the top 3, although you could be cutting it very, very close depending on your kill count for those games. But as it stands, if you still want to play, you can check it out at PUBGLeague.gg. You can go there, sign up, or at least keep track of it so that when we do start Season 2, you can come in and try to play that. And you can also follow it on Twitter at PUBGLeague. You can follow me on Twitter at Goremizer. You can follow Heyday. Heyday, what's your Twitter?
It's Heyday TV on Twitter.
And that's going to be H-E-Y or H-A-E.
H-E-Y-D-A-E.
That one.
TV. Yeah,
I get them reversed every single time I've said it, and every time I've spelled it, I've had to recorrect myself. But that's going to be it. That was week 4. That was going to be 3 games, and as it stands, the leaderboards, they're going to get shaken up. That's all that really needs to matter. I mean, I'm looking at it. Machine Gunner was number 22 coming into this week, and with that performance in that last game, I know he's going to be jumping up as it stands. But that's going to be the last game here, and that's going to be it for the broadcast from me, from the league, and from Tier Monster, who is hosting this event on their Twitch channel. We will say thank you for watching. Come in, tune in next week, starting again. I think 6:45 is the start time for the game. The stream will be up at 6:30. Tune in, hit that follow button, and make sure you're here to watch the next games next week.
See you next time, guys.
Let the love flow on, baby. Let the love be free. I reach for you, honey. You reach for me.